this hurts, this hurts, this hurts, this hurts. I really thought this day wouldn't come. I really hoped this day would not come. I really did not want this to happen. John Harbaugh, you are officially on the hot seat. In my week 4 takeaways video, which is my first takeaways video, I said that this video was coming. This actually might even come out beforehand. I don't know. But yes, I do believe John Harbaugh is on the hot seat and needs to be monitored. And trust me, if I am saying it, then it's a problem, because I have defended this guy for years and years. Because for the last few years, we've had what I have presumed to be ungrateful Ravens fans saying John Harbaugh needs to go. His time's up. He's not a good coach. And last year was the first year with the amount of one-score games that we lost, especially in the second half of the season, where I was like, okay. But it is just the fact that we have to be skeptical about this guy's ability to coach a solid game. If you're unaware of what has happened this year to really stir this conversation, let me lay it out for you. In week 2, we played the Miami Dolphins at our home opener, a team with a new flashy wide receiver core as well as a young offensive-minded head coach. We came out guns blazing, found ourselves with a 28-7 lead at halftime. Didn't really falter in the third quarter, found ourselves in a 35-14 game at the start of the fourth. 35-14, repeat, 35-14. We lost the game 42-38, 28 unanswered. We scored 3 points on our final drive of the game when it was already 35-35, extended our lead to 3, and then they went down and scored. 2 major miscommunications defensively that allowed Tyreek Hill to roam wide open, and just horrible situational football. On our first offensive drive of the game, it was already 7-0 because Devin Duvernay took back the opening kickoff. We're already winning. We got all the way down to the 1-yard line and got stopped. We have been awful in short yardage situations, which for a run-heavy team like us with Lamar Jackson as our quarterback is unacceptable. But again, a 4th down situation where we go for it and we fail to get it when we could have took 3 points. Fast forward to the 4th quarter when we are trying to put the game away and their offense is starting to get going. It was actually right before the offense really got going. It was the drive that kind of sparked it. We found ourselves in a 4th and short right across midfield. Now, there's 2 logical options here. You either let the greatest kicker of all time take a stab at the field goal, which he probably would make, or you punt it and try and pin them back and trust your defense, who was only allowed 14 points. But instead, despite being up 3 touchdowns, we decide we have to go for it because it's so urgent. We fail to get that. We get no chance for points, no chance for a field goal, and now they already get the great field goal position. And we all know how that goes. Our defense fails to get a stop for the rest of the game, becomes Swiss cheese. We get clowned for it. There's the first blown lead. We beat a garbage Patriots team where we still let Mac Jones hang 26 on us, which is ridiculous. And now we get to week 4, the week that just passed, Bills at Ravens, our second home opener. Again, we come out hot. Our defense gets a turnover, puts our offense in great field position. We punch it in to start the game. We end up finding ourselves in a 20-3 situation that turned into a 20-10 situation based off of some unfortunate circumstances at the end of the second half. One of which was a missed pass interference on 3rd down, which is unfortunate but part of the game and can't be used as an excuse. And the other one was Pat Queen, who has done it for the 3rd consecutive week, dropping a wide open interception. A gimme. But whatever, the weather conditions were bad, we still had the lead. Let's just fast forward to the end of the game when it really mattered. The Bills scored 10 points in the second half to tie the game up 20-20. Our offense was still able to move the ball, but our run game started getting pushed back, and we just weren't able to keep drives going through the air. Couple penalties, a drop, a tip pick, those kind of things. Can't really fault anybody but the guys on the field for those things. But after Lamar's pick, which was around midfield, and Ravens fans were kind of like, uh-oh, because it's a 20-20 tie ball game and the Bills are starting at almost midfield, our defense gets a massive 3-and-out stop. And our offense takes the ball from the 5-yard line, our own 5-yard line, and drives all the way down to the goal line. There's 2 minutes left in the game. Again, our running game is just not really getting the push anymore. We get stopped 3 times on goal, and it brings up a 4th and goal at the 3. The game is 20-20. I want to emphasize that this game is tied. So this chip shot of a field goal that is literally the only option at this point would give us the lead with 2 minutes left. That's not a bad situation. Now, obviously, Josh Allen and this Bills offense, right? They're probably going to lead them across midfield and get those 3 points. But guess what that means? Overtime. And maybe another chance for our offense. But no, instead of taking the only option, we again decide to scribble in another option, and we go for it on 4th and goal, not at the 1, but at the 3. In a situation where our run game is not only not moving, but it's getting pushed back. So we know we can't run the ball. And the Bills are going to sell out for the pass on 4th and goal. And you force Lamar to throw up a literal 3-yard punt. A 3-yard punt. That, by all means, it's his fault because he threw it. He had no choice but to, because it's 4th and goal. You're not going to throw it away. What's the point? And yeah, man, I said it in my my takeaways video. Just an arrogant decision, a stupid decision, and it shows many things. It shows lack of trust in your defense, who had just gotten a massive stop right before that. And we're acting like the Bills hung 40. Like, bro, obviously the weather conditions weren't bad. You can't ask for anything more from that defense against that Bills offense. They let up 23 points. And before anybody says, oh, well, you won't blame Lamar. But yeah, I blame Lamar. Lamar played mid as shit. Like, I really don't think he played bad. The numbers aren't going to tell the whole story. Obviously, he threw 2 picks. He only threw for like 144 yards. He ran for 70 of them things, but no rushing touchdowns. 1 touchdown on the game, and it was on the opening drive. But situationally, he really wasn't playing bad. The only thing I'll fault him for was the first interception, because he threw the ball just way too low. Like, obviously, he was trying to get it out quick, but you got to put it higher. Like, that's been an issue with Lamar, is tip balls. And so, like yeah, the ball was tipped, but like it was tipped because he threw it so damn low. And you gotta learn how to get it over defenders, because otherwise, offensively, we played the game exactly how we wanted to, run heavy, especially in those conditions. And there was literally no explosive offense in that game exactly for that reason, and that's 2 of the most explosive offenses in the league thus far. I'd love to get some good conditions when we play Buffalo for once, but let's get back to John Harbaugh, because again, like I said, this is somebody I've defended for years. Ravens fans for the past couple of years have been saying John Harbaugh needs to go, and I'm like, yo, like, y'all are way too quick to switch up. And I do believe that, but these last 2 years, he's not making a good case for himself. Harbaugh's showing what happens when we get in these situations, and it's just not, he has not been good. So let me break down John Harbaugh's attributes as a coach, his pros and cons, okay? Here's the biggest issue with him. He came into the league a special teams guy. He always has been a special teams coach. That's what he was prior to being a head coach. And so he doesn't specialize in anything offense or defense, only special teams, which ironically enough, we've had phenomenal special teams since Harbaugh being here, but that's the first thing. The next thing is clock management. We've always been awful at clock management, and like a lot of it was like when back in our Flacco days, we were worse. Like when we were playing from behind, our clock management was awful. It seemed like we just had no type of urgency ever, and it's like, what do you talk, like you're losing the game. And then it's just a situation of football, and it's only become more and more apparent here in these last couple of years. But there are pros to Harbaugh as a coach. You know, he's not the worst coach in the league. He's just, we can do better is basically what we're saying. The first pro is game plan. We always seem to have a great game plan. Now, every once in a while, we run into a team that, like, just matchup-wise is just awful for us, and we get completely exposed. But, like, you'll notice that in a lot of games, we're able to take away a team's best player. I'm not saying every game, and, like, it's a different team, like, this year, but I'm speaking, like, from the bulk of John Harbaugh's years, over the years with all of our various defenses and whatnot. We're really usually able to take that one guy out of the game, or it's a different game. You play differently when you play the Ravens. And I'm just referring to initial game plan here. Just initial game plan. You know, he's usually good at getting us to start the game off pretty hot. Now, the biggest thing that John Harbaugh brings, the biggest thing he provides, and why John Harbaugh has not been fired yet, why he is still considered the coach of the Baltimore Ravens for the long haul, not even just like for, you know, the next couple of years, is the culture. This is a family-oriented team, and that's organizational. It's more than John Harbaugh. It has to do with the owner, Steve Bisciotti. It has to do with Eric DeCosta. It has to do with all the front office. It also has to do with the history of the team, what the Ray Lewis teams and whatnot have built here in Baltimore. And John Harbaugh was a part of that. You know, like, make no mistake. We have 2 rings, and one of those is, well, John Harbaugh's. And, like, no matter what happens with him, he's looked at as a legend coach in my eyes, like, for at least for our franchise. But he's just a guy that players want to play for. Every person that leaves Baltimore has nothing but great things to say about the team and about the way that that we operate and the way that they're coached and the way they go about their business. It is a winner's mentality, but it's a mentality. They do it in a way that's really only unique to Baltimore, and that's why I love it. And it, like I said, it's a lot more than just Harbaugh, but he's done a really good job at replicating and continuing to put forth that culture. And that's the best thing about Harbaugh and why he's still here. But you just can't look at those two games, week 4 and week 2 this year, and some of the stuff we've gone through last year, and really the fact that we've only won 2 playoff games since our Super Bowl, which albeit I think will get blown out of proportion because that's one, probably more than a lot of other teams, and 2, like, we've made it, and like just the fact that we've been able to stay relevant even before the Lamar era. Like, I mean, we didn't make the playoffs too many times, but like I think probably half of the seasons, or maybe a little bit under half the seasons post the Super Bowl run, because that's when things started to go downhill because we couldn't build a team around Flacco's big ass contract. Which, speaking of which, is gonna happen again after this season with the Lamar situation because we decided not to pay him. So we gotta win, and that's why we gotta tighten up. But it's also unfair to just single out Harbaugh. Like, as much as like that decision is just awful, like defensively and offensively, there's a lot of things to point out, and it's situational. Because personnel wise, we have everything we can ask for on both sides of the ball, with the exception of, threats on the outside, wide receivers wise. Not to say our receivers have been terrible this year, but we don't have that guy yet. I mean, Mark Andrews exists, and a valiant pass rush. And I gotta say, man, for Mike McDonald's first 4 games as our defensive coordinator, I'm not liking it, because he can be credited with probably more of the blame in the Dolphins game, due to the miscommunications and whatnot. And like, upon the leaving of Wink Martindale, you think like, because with Wink Martindale's system, we blitz so much and play man coverage that, that's the problem, is like when you don't get home, or when we don't have our great personnel on defense, guys are liable to get burnt. But now our defense is just kind of feels like a more hesitant version of that. And it's like, we don't know what we want to do, because if we play man, we're not getting enough of a pass rush, and then we're liable to get burnt over the top. But if we play zone, we're still not getting enough, or we're really not getting enough of a pass rush, and then we're just going to get carved up underneath all day. But too many times am I just seeing the use of personnel wrong. Like, why does Marlon Humphrey keep not ending up on their best player? Why is our rookie Jalen Armour Davis on Tyreek Hill on that 3rd down? Where, I understand Marlon Humphrey wasn't in the game. I understand Marcus Peters got burnt the play before. He didn't have any over the top help. I mean, it's not right, and it keeps happening, right? Like, too many times was Peters on Diggs, right? And I'm like, why isn't Marlon Humphrey? Like, Marlon Humphrey's on him a good bit, but I'm like, why isn't Marlon Humphrey on him every play? Because if you're gonna go man, and if you're gonna show man, you might as well just commit to it. And it's like, they don't want to motion over Humphrey, or they don't want, it's like they don't want to show it. But like, bro, who cares? The whole point of man is just to win your one-on-one battle. And despite maybe a different belief from the general public, Marlon Humphrey has been terrific in one-on-one. Up to week 4, he was leading the league in lowest passer rating with a 1. Yes, a 1. And I don't think it got much better. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you can look at Craig Roman a little bit, but like, I gotta say, like, I'm not faulting Roman a whole lot, because again, our offense has failed to score the ball late in games to help close out, as much as like you would like our defense to step up in that Dolphins game. Our offense didn't only scored 3 points in the 4th quarter, so like, that's a problem. And that was the one thing, is I did think we shortened up a little bit, because they just had no answer for our passing offense. And we really started to shorten up to manage the game, which is smart, but like, then it got to the point where it was like we were just giving them the ball back. But I think Roman's philosophy is right. Like, I think he's actually understanding the balance like good enough now, to where we just need to execute in the 3rd and short, and the short yardage situations, and just like I said, situational football. I'm gonna say it all year: situational football, situational football, situational football. But look, man, as much as Harbaugh now has a large question mark over his head, that's our coach for the rest of the year, and as far as I'm concerned, that's our guy. And hopefully we can have a bounce back week against Cincy. I don't know. I mean, last year we got torched by them. Obviously, different teams this year. We'll see, man. It should be a good game. We need it. We have to win it. We've lost 5 straight home games in a row, which is the most under Harbaugh ever. I mean, obviously, it's rough. It's really rough out here, man, because we very well could be 4-0 right now. We should be 3-1. I'll give Buffalo the credit because they grinded their way back into the game. We low-key laid down for Miami. And yeah, man. But that's it. I'm just going to continue being miserable for the rest of the week while I wait for this next game. Bye.